Welcome back to another video. Today we've got here a Honda Pilot 2012 model. We're going to be doing a rebuild series on this one. Picked it up from Copart. See, we've got blown airbag and a blown seatbelt pretensioner that we're going to be fixing here. And then there's a dent here on the quarter that we're going to fix. Let's see. And then also over here, there is a rocker panel cover that we're going to be having to order a new one and get that on there and paint it up. So I'm just going to go ahead and start at it. And start tearing this down and see what we need here on this corner. We are going to be needing a new headlight. This headlight is cracked in here. This tab is broken. This one's still here, but the housing is cracked. So definitely new headlight here. Not a big deal. So we'll get a new headlight put in there. Yeah, let's get into it. All right, sorry I didn't record that. Taking these bottom clips out was much more of a pain than I thought it was going to be. But anyway, got the front bumper removed. Looks like frame is good. On this side anyway, we have the damage to the radiator support, which I'll be fixing that. And then there's still a piece of fender wedged in there too. Or no, that's a piece of the support. It's just jammed up in there. Here's the impact sensor that went ahead and fired. So, yeah. All right, so I just want to run through a couple of these codes. We do have some ABS codes, so let's see what they are here. All right, low voltage, not a big deal. So we're just going to erase these codes. Yep. We're going to go to SRS, so airbag. All right. So we're going to read these codes. All right. Driver's airbag and or seatbelt tensioner deployed. So I'm worried about this one. This one may not be that big a deal, because we're just going to replace those two and then we're going to clear them out. So I'll have to look into that one. So let's go ahead and exit out of here. Obviously, it's not going to do anything. I don't want to clear them yet. Look at TPMS. We do have a TPMS light on the dash, so I'm curious to what this is going to say. Okay. Oh, it says right front tire, low air pressure. Okay. So apparently that tire is low on air. So that's not a big deal. I could put air in that. So we'll see what that does. Okay, and then these two are probably from low battery voltage, but I'm going to test them anyway. We're just going to see. Oh, well, I don't know which one it's under. Probably lighting, actually. The front headlight is unplugged, so that's probably why. VTM4, I wonder what this is. We're going to see what this says. Powertrain system failure. It's probably from low voltage. So erase that and see if it comes back. Yep. Okay. Turn it to off. Turn it to on. Okay. Sorry for the beeping. All right, so what we have here is, let's go right here. So right here what we have is we have a dent in the quarter panel, and I'm gonna start doing the body work on this while we wait for parts for the front end. So if we look at this, the first step is you can see the line up here is pretty much okay, although it may be pushed out a little bit, so we're gonna have to maybe get the hammer set out and knock that down. This line, however, is indented quite a bit, and so is this bottom line. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna grind this down, and we're gonna get the stud welder on here, and we're gonna start doing that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and start putting our studs on along that dent. We're going to be doing some pulls. Open this little back studs and go ahead and start. Get this open. Go ahead and look at your line here. I think about right in there. Let's see, let's do this again. About right in there. So we got that stud on there. Now I'm just going to keep going across. So now that we got all our studs welded on here, we're going to start using our slide hammer to hopefully pull these out a little bit. So let's get this going. I'm going to start with this one. right, so after a while of messing around, you can see that they're all pretty even. So there's none dented down in the middle. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take a pair of side cutters, and this is how you remove studs. You just come in here and cut them off. Just like this. Here with this one again. Just get that off. And then you take, your grinder or whatever you got really, and you just come in here. You just want to grind them down. So I'm going to go through and do all of that for all of these, and then we're going to continue to work on this part of the dent right here. All right, so I went ahead and I grinded this all off just so I could get a better idea of what the metal's like underneath the dent here. And looks like there is a low spot like right here, and then a massive low spot in here. So I'm going to get in here with the stud gun. I'm going to pull this out first. I'm going to address this little surface rust in here. I'm going to scratch that out as best as I can. I tried to get in there with the grinder, and it just did not work. So, yeah. So I'm going to get in this and pull it out with the stud gun down there, and then I'll start working on this. Alrighty, everyone. So, for this big dent, I decided what I'm going to do is I welded this stud on here, this one in the middle, and I'm just pulling it out with a pair of pliers. I'm using the stud gun with no stud in it. That's very important for this. Let me move this back so y'all can get a better view. So what you want to do, pull on the stud, and then use it with no stud gun in it to sort of shrink the metal into behaving like you want. So we want that thing to pop out right there. So I'm gonna pull it real hard, and we're gonna see if we can get it to stay like that. So we want that to pop like that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit it. Just like this a few times, so it's staying. There we go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these cutters right here and cut this off. So now, that's pretty good. It's already better. This part over here isn't low anymore because off camera I did do a couple little spots with the welder. Over here, it still needs to be pulled out. So it goes down. I need to grind this off right here. Ready? after that, this is pretty much where we need it to be in order to start putting body filler on. It's not very perfect at all, but it's close enough now to where a very thin layer of filler will fix this up nicely. So I'm gonna go ahead and clip off this. And I'm gonna go through and clean up all these things here, and then I'll be back. All right, so here's what we're gonna be using. We're gonna be using R1 Easy 4000 Lightweight Body Filler by Roberlo. Yeah, so I haven't used this stuff in a couple months, so it's going to need a good stir. Oh yeah. So I've got a stir stick here. And yeah, so I'm gonna sit here and stir this up and I'll be back. All right, so first of all, get yourself a little spreader here. This is gonna be the cream hardener we use. And then for glaze, I've got U-Pull Dolphin glaze, so we're gonna be doing that. So I'm just gonna scoop some filler out here onto the mixing board, if I can catch it here. Sorry, filming this with one hand is kind of difficult. All right, so I think that'll be enough filler for now. Well, maybe a little bit more. There we go. So I'm gonna be doing this. See if I can balance that. So here's what I'm gonna do. First of all, I've got blue cream hardener here. It's very, very separated usually, so just knead it up so it doesn't squirt out like a liquid. You don't want that to happen all in your filler. Okay. It's probably way too much, but you know. All right. So what I'm gonna do is take this over here to our little bodywork area where we're going. Set you guys up. Go here, I'm gonna have to all right. Sorry about that, I just had to position you guys to where you guys were gonna see everything that's about to happen. So I'm just gonna give this a good wipe really quick, just so you know everything goes on smooth. And I'm going to mix this filler up. This filler is kind of old and I used way too much hardness, so we're gonna see how this is gonna work. Now I'm just gonna start our application here. So I'm just gonna apply it all at once just to get that build on there. We went down here too. So this may seem like a lot of filler, and it is, but most of it's gonna be sanded off, so you don't gotta worry about it. It's okay if you go over the paint too. This stuff's not gonna be, this stuff is not supposed to be applied over paint, which is why we went down to bare metal. So you just have to be aware of that whenever you're doing this, that it's not supposed to go over paint. Also, it's kind of cold out right now. Wintertime is approaching soon. So the dry times for this are going to be a little bit longer, which gives us more workability, which is great. We want that. I'm just going to do a little tight spread into the panel next to it. So feathering that's going to be easier. All right, so that's our first application of filler. I like to scrape my board off as best as I can so it stays nice and tidy, and then I'll go wipe this off with paper towels right here. So just grab some paper towel and I'm gonna wipe this off pretty good. So I'm hoping that we can get this in one application, but I already do see that a low spot is coming through there. But I'm also calling it a night right now. So I just want to get that bare metal covered up before I go inside so it doesn't develop a nice layer of surface rust before I go back inside. And I've got filler all over my fingers. Wonderful. And I'm also gonna clean this up with a little bit of thinner to get it nice and clean. So yeah, that's it for now. It's gonna be the same video, but you're just gonna be seeing it at a later date. So I'm leaving it like this overnight and I'll come back to it. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a DA and I'm just gonna knock this down and then we'll start refining it with our blocks and then maybe add more if we need more. All right, so after some sanding, this is still low from about, so I need to put more filler here. This is almost pretty much good, except for right here where I need to put some because that was low. But it feels pretty good there. But up here, still needs some work. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix some more filler up there and we'll keep going. All right, so I reapplied some more filler on top because it's not all the way there yet. What I'm doing is I'm measuring the body line out here and then projecting that onto my filler so I can draw a line where I know the line's gonna run. Alrighty, so after some refining, I guess you could say, of that rough body filler, just with some 80 grit, we've got our final shape here. It's somewhat smooth, which is what we want. It is flat though. This is sort of a bubbled surface and this becomes flat and then bubbled again. It's not gonna be perfect, so I'm not gonna worry too much about it, but we are gonna use some glaze on here to get that, that 180 finish so we can go ahead and prime it. But we do have our line put in here, which is very important. There are some defects like that, but those you don't really have to worry about right now because we are going to apply some glaze. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna go get some 400 grit and I'm just gonna rough up maybe around here or maybe even some 180, honestly. Just get some 180 grit and rough up around where we're gonna put the glaze so it sticks nice and easy. So what I am doing is I'm taking some 180 and just going around here, just around where the glaze might touch, because we are going to be spot priming this and spot sealing it as well. So that is pretty much what we want. And then we're gonna go in here and we're gonna do a light coat of glaze over this. And then we're gonna finish off with some 180, get it nice and smooth, and then we'll be ready for some filler primer. All right, sorry I didn't record the application, but that's like what it looks like after I've applied it. I may have to apply this one more time afterwards because I don't know if I got it enough, but yeah. I'm just gonna take a paper towel and start cleaning my spreader off. All right, so I just finished cleaning the spreader off. So here's what we got going here. So I just applied the glaze. There is some spots here that I'm worried about. I may have to reapply some. Not that big of a deal though, because I do have a ton of them there. So we will be okay. These we don't have to worry about. These are 180 scratches. My primer filler will fill that easily. We just wanted to fill the 80 grit scratches in the filler and the paint over here. So now that we have that filled, we're gonna cure this and then we're gonna hit it with some 180 to knock it down nice and smooth. And then we'll go ahead and go in with the filler primer. Alrighty, everyone. So this is where we're at right here. Let me get you down in here so you can see. So here we go. We have it all 180'd out, the glaze. I actually didn't have to end up reapplying it. It's not perfect, but we're not going for absolute perfection on this one. You can see the body line goes throughout the glaze work. Looks pretty good. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna tape off probably at this seam, go across around the gas tank, out and then down, because we want to prime around the sand scratches so we can go ahead and get those filled in. So I'm gonna clean up this mess first and then blow off the car and get everything ready for that. All right, so this is basically what I'm rocking with here. I'm leaving a good amount of space between the sand scratches and the tape. That's just dirt, don't worry about that. And so that way I can kind of feather this out without running into those scratches. So I'm just doing a rough outline here. I'm not gonna worry about a soft edge on this because I am gonna go in and wet sand through the, I'm gonna wet sand this primer down before we spray sealer on it, but I'm gonna go ahead and drip some plastic around here and we're gonna spray this and then I'm calling it done for the night. So now I have the car just masked a little bit now as to where I can just get in here and do some quick priming this area. So basically what we got going on here is we got our filler here and then we have this paint, which the primer is not gonna stick to. So I have just a 400 disc. I'm gonna go through and then just rough it up to get that primer to stick. You could also use some red Scotch-Brite pad, works great for this. I don't have any right now, so this is my next best option. Just come in here and scuff up this paint a little bit. It don't have to be too perfect, but you do want to get it all scuffed before you apply primer. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and scuff this whole thing up and then I'm gonna go over there and start mixing primer and I'll bring you guys with me. All right, so this is what we're gonna be using. We're gonna be using this Multi-Filler Express by Roberlo. This is a great primer for doing spot priming. It is white, it's a white primer, so you wanna spray like, we're spraying a black over there, so we're gonna spray a gray sealer over this. This is just to cover the metal and get everything all leveled out as far as imperfections go. So anyway, we also have this. This is the hardener, and then we're gonna mix it 4 to 1 to 1 with some urethane reducer. So let's go ahead and get that going. So after a mess happened, I did mix up the amount we need, just a tiny bit. It's a real watery substance, so yeah. Okay, that's probably good on the stirring. So what we're gonna do now, we're just gonna pour it into the gun. Okay, and then we can clean this out and reuse the cup. Okay, put that there. Get the lid for the gun. Put this on here, sorry. All right, so the gun I'm using is the DeVilbiss FLG4, the Finish Line Pro or whatever the crap it's called, but it's a good gun. So for this, basically, I want to turn my pressure down pretty low on this because we didn't fully mask the car. Okay, so we have the primer in here now, and I'm gonna turn the pressure way down. Just like barely anything, and then also put the fluid in. All right, so just a tiny bit. All right, so this is where we are after our primer has been applied. So I did have a mishap and I had to redo, but now it's good. So what we're gonna do is, it's not all the way dry yet, but I am gonna dust on some black paint. Just like this. All right, there we go. So that'll act as kind of a guide coat for me, just so I could sand it easier and know where everything is. So now I'm gonna peel off all this plastic and tape. We're gonna see what it looks like here. So this is still pretty wet. That's okay. Let's peel all this off and away from the car. That way we can get rid of that. Throw that down in the trash can, and open this up. Take this out. So it looks like we did have a little bit of primer run past the tape here, but that's still on the quarter panel, so that shouldn't be an issue at all. So here, I'm gonna go ahead and pop this. Okay. So yeah, we did have some overspray on the plastic here. That's not a big deal. I will take care of that, because that's just gonna happen when you have this sort of thing. Also, there's some primer on here that I'll just soak off with some paint thinner here in 2 seconds. This is still pretty wet at the moment. Okay. Here we go. So let me go ahead and get a little bit of lacquer thinner on a piece of paper towel. I'm gonna absorb that off where it needs to be. Just go ahead and get this. So just go ahead and just rub it off. This is not supposed to be there. Right now, while it's wet, you can just rub it off where it's not supposed to be, and it'll come off now. So there we go. So this is our area now that we have primed. But there it is. That's the finished primed area. I smeared the black paint. That's okay. We won't worry about that. So, yeah. All right, so that's gonna be it for this episode. Thank you guys for watching. Next week or 2 weeks from now, or whenever I get the chance to edit and upload this video, we're going to be painting the parts for the front here. See if I can get you guys in here. We're gonna be painting these parts and getting them installed, and then we're also going to be painting this corner panel up, and then we're gonna blend it. I'll show you guys. We're gonna blend it up, just the base coat up, and then we're gonna clear the whole piece all the way across the top down to here is where we're gonna stop. And I think this car has been painted before, which shouldn't be an issue, but we are going to find out. So, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.